Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
The Minnesota Vikings are about to make one of the most polarizing and potentially franchise-altering decisions in recent franchise history. And honestly, the whispers coming out of US Bank Stadium are getting louder by the day. After years of searching for that quarterback who can elevate a talented roster into legitimate Super Bowl contention, the Vikings front office, under the direction of Kevin O'Connell, is reportedly zeroing in on Arizona Cardinals quarterback KYLER Murray as the missing piece. And let me tell you something right now. If this actually happens, the entire landscape of the NFC is about to shift in ways we haven't seen since Kirk Cousins first signed with Minnesota. This is the kind of storyline that keeps NFL fans up at night, scrolling through Twitter at 2 in the morning, arguing with strangers in the comments section. This is the kind of move that could either cement Kevin O'Connell as a visionary head coach capable of adapting his system to elite talent, or it could be the moment that Minnesota fans look back on and wonder what could have been if the organization had just been bold enough to pull the trigger. So sit down, buckle up, and let's dive deep into the possibility of KYLER Murray becoming a Minnesota Viking, because trust me, this conversation is far from over. According to multiple reports from prominent NFL insiders, there is legitimate internal support from various factions within the Vikings organization for pursuing KYLER Murray. Alec Lewis, one of the most respected reporters covering the Vikings beat, broke down exactly what's happening behind closed doors. He revealed that there is immense internal support from a lot of different people on KYLER Murray, and not just from the front office either. Even some of the Vikings players themselves appreciate what KYLER has accomplished within the National Football League. This isn't just some random speculation thrown out there by a beat reporter looking for clicks. This is serious, substantive reporting about genuine interest at multiple levels of the organization. Now, here's the thing about KYLER Murray that most casual football fans don't fully understand or appreciate. When you turn on game tape and watch this guy operate on Sunday afternoons, you feel something different. Whether you're a player in that locker room, whether you're sitting on the sideline as a teammate, or whether you're across the line of scrimmage as a defender preparing to go against him, there's an aura around KYLER that commands respect. He feels like one of the best players in the game when he steps foot on that football field. And this isn't just hype or nostalgia talking. When KYLER Murray is out there, he has that presence that you can only compare to the elite tier of quarterbacks in this league. Guys like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. People forget that KYLER Murray was a Heisman Trophy winner. He was the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft. He's been to Pro Bowls. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards in multiple seasons. He's a dual-threat quarterback who can beat you with his arm and with his legs. Yes, he's 5'10". Yes, there were concerns about his height coming into the league. But you know what? When you watch the tape, his size melts away because his instincts are so sharp, his decision-making is so refined, and his athletic ability is genuinely elite level. That's what separates really good quarterbacks from great ones. Great quarterbacks find ways to overcome physical limitations through sheer intelligence and talent. KYLER Murray is a great quarterback. Even DeAndre Hopkins, one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history and someone who actually played alongside KYLER in Arizona, understands exactly how special Murray is. When reports started circulating about KYLER potentially joining the Vikings, DeAndre Hopkins jumped into the conversation on social media and made a statement that got everyone's attention. He quote-tweeted a post suggesting that Justin Jefferson and KYLER Murray would absolutely set the league on fire. And Hopkins' response? He said it simply and directly. K1 and JJ would be scary. Coming from a Hall of Fame caliber receiver who is lined up next to some of the greatest quarterbacks in history, that's not a throwaway comment. That's a veteran recognizing elite-level talent when he sees it. Think about what this means for a moment. You're pairing one of the best young wide receivers in the National Football League, Justin Jefferson, who is only 26 years old and entering what should be the absolute prime years of his career, with a quarterback who has elite arm talent, elite athleticism, and elite decision-making capabilities. This isn't a reach. This is a legitimate pairing of two talented players who could dominate together for the next 5 to 7 years. Speaking of Justin Jefferson, let's talk about what might actually be driving this entire narrative from the player side. Jefferson is not stupid. He knows he's the best wide receiver in the National Football League. He knows he's entering the prime years of his career at 26 years old, about to turn 27 next season. And here's what's critical. He also knows that he just wasted an entire season putting up underwhelming numbers despite being an elite talent. This past year, Jefferson was doing everything in his power just to scrape together 1,000 receiving yards. He finished the season with only 2 touchdowns. 2. For a player of his caliber, that's absolutely unacceptable. That's not on Jefferson. That's on the quarterback play and the system around him. If I'm Justin Jefferson right now, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to start unnecessary controversy. But I am telling my front office one of 2 things. Either you sign Kyler Murray or you trade me this offseason. That's the reality of the situation. Jefferson understands that he's in his prime. He understands that these next 4 years are the most important years of his career in terms of winning championships and putting up elite statistics. He also understands that you can't waste another season with subpar quarterback play. He's probably looking at the situation and thinking, why should I spend my best years on a team that isn't serious about winning? That kind of pressure from your best player gets noticed. That kind of pressure gets the front office thinking seriously about what moves they need to make. Now let's talk about what the actual NFL coaching fraternity and executive ranks think about Kyler Murray as a quarterback. Mike Sando, who has his famous quarterback tiers that he publishes annually based on votes from actual NFL executives and coaches, the people who have skin in the game, who are making multi-million-dollar decisions based on evaluations, has consistently ranked Kyler Murray as a top 20 quarterback in the league for the last 5 consecutive seasons. In 2025, heading into last year, executives and coaches viewed him as the 15th best quarterback in the National Football League. In 2024, he was ranked 17th. Before that, 23rd, 13th, and 13th in prior years. The point here is consistent. NFL people who actually work in this league, who put their jobs on the line based on these evaluations, believe Kyler Murray is a top 20 quarterback. Period. The average fan on Twitter might argue that Kyler isn't a top 20 quarterback, but you know what? The average fan on Twitter doesn't spend 80 hours a week studying film. The average fan on Twitter doesn't have millions of dollars riding on whether their quarterback evaluation is correct. These NFL coaches and executives do, and they've consistently said that Kyler is in that top 20 range. That matters. Everything we're hearing about how the Vikings organization is thinking this offseason suggests that if they can just get baseline competent quarterback play, and I'm not even talking elite here, just solid, consistent quarterback play, they can win a lot of games. And here's the kicker. Kyler Murray gives you more than just baseline competent play. Kyler gives you that top 20 quarterback stable floor that provides genuine stability at the position. You're not gambling with a rookie. You're not hoping a journeyman finds his form. You're getting a known commodity who has proven he can operate at a high level in the NFL. When you combine that with the weapons the Vikings already have in their arsenal, when you look at Justin Jefferson, when you look at other pass catchers on this roster, when you look at running back room depth, you have the offensive weapons to support a quarterback. And then you factor in that the Vikings have constructed one of the best defenses in the National Football League. They could legitimately be even better next season than they were this past year. You add the playmaking juice and the electricity that Kyler brings to a football team, and suddenly you're looking at a team that should absolutely be competing for a playoff spot. The Vikings should be in the playoffs next season with Kyler Murray. It's not hyperbole. It's basic logic applied to roster construction. Peter Schefter, one of the most connected insiders in all of sports, has also been connecting the dots between Kyler Murray and the Vikings, and his analysis is particularly interesting. Schefter said that if he were Kyler Murray right now, he wouldn't be focusing on price tag. He'd be focusing on finding the best situation. And you know what? Minnesota makes a ton of sense. Minnesota absolutely makes sense because the Vikings have the weapons, they have the coaching, they have a defense, and they have a desperate need at quarterback. Now here's where the conversation gets interesting and honestly, a little bit contentious. Some people in the media have suggested that Kevin O'Connell's offensive scheme is specifically designed for traditional pocket passers, and therefore, KYLER might not be a perfect fit. They point to O'Connell's history with Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, and Sam Darnold, all more traditional pocket passing quarterbacks. But here's my response to that analysis. That's ridiculous, and here's why. If Lamar Jackson suddenly became available on the trade market tomorrow, would anyone seriously suggest the Vikings shouldn't pursue him because of scheme fit with Kevin O'Connell? Of course not. That would be absurd. You don't turn down elite quarterback talent because your scheme has traditionally featured pocket passers. What you do is you adapt your scheme to maximize the strengths of your elite quarterback talent. That's what great coaches do. Great coaches aren't married to one way of doing things. Great coaches are adaptable. Great coaches find ways to get their best players in position to succeed. Kevin O'Connell is a creative offensive mind. He has demonstrated his ability to adjust and adapt. If the Vikings acquire Kyler Murray, I have complete confidence that O'Connell would evolve his system to take advantage of Kyler's elite athleticism, his ability to create outside the pocket, his dual threat capability. Maybe it means more zone read concepts. Maybe it means more movement in the pocket designs. Maybe it means some up-tempo elements that get Kyler into space where he thrives. The point is, talented coaches can make this work, and Kevin O'Connell is a talented coach. Here's the bottom line, and I think this is the most important point in this entire conversation. The only way Kyler Murray doesn't become a Minnesota Viking is if Kevin O'Connell doesn't want him. That's it. That's the answer. Kevin O'Connell is calling the shots in this organization. If he wants Kyler Murray, the trade will happen. If he doesn't want Kyler Murray, it won't. Everything else, the scheme fit concerns, the market analysis, the other options, all of that becomes secondary to what Kevin O'Connell actually wants, and the reporting suggests that both Kyler Murray wants to be here and the players want him here. Paul Allen, the longtime Vikings announcer with deep connections throughout the organization, was reporting yesterday that Kyler Murray actually wants to be a Minnesota Viking. He's interested in the situation. He sees the potential. He sees an organization that's serious about winning and has the resources to put him in position to succeed. So, if the star players want him, the quarterback wants to be here, and the front office is considering it seriously, then it really all comes down to Kevin O'Connell. Does he embrace this opportunity to work with elite talent, or does he say, no, I need a traditional pocket passer who fits my specific scheme? I think if he says no, then the narrative about the Vikings not being serious about winning in 2026 becomes pretty loud. Let me dive into what I actually saw on tape when I went back and watched extended Kyler Murray film from the 2024 season, because this is where trust comes in. This is where you have to trust your eyes instead of getting caught up in the media narratives and the debate threads. When you watch Kyler Murray on tape from 2024, he was absolutely phenomenal. And here's the crazy part. He was doing it without a lot of supporting cast. Michael Wilson was still developing. Trey McBride was just starting his breakout. Marvin Harrison Jr. was in his rookie year and just starting to show why he was a top 10 pick. And despite having a relatively inexperienced receiving core, Kyler was absolutely unbelievable. Some of the plays he was making were frankly insane. They were the kind of plays that only a handful of quarterbacks in the entire National Football League can consistently execute. When you compare Kyler Murray's 2024 season to Sam Darnold's 2024 season, and remember, Sam Darnold was playing for the Vikings with a far superior supporting cast, the numbers are eerily similar in some ways and actually favoring Kyler in others. Sam Darnold had a slightly better completion percentage and had the luxury of learning in an established system with experienced receivers around him. Kyler, on a per-play basis, was actually more efficient in terms of EPA. His success rate was better. The production was comparable, but Kyler achieved it with significantly less support around him. That tells you something about the level of talent we're talking about. Now look, I'm not naive. I understand that highlight tapes can be deceiving. I understand that players sometimes look better in shorter clips than they actually are over a full season. I have that concern with some players, but with Kyler, what you see on tape matches up with what the tape tells you when you study full games. The athleticism is real. The decision-making is real. The arm talent is real. You watch this guy move around the pocket, and you're immediately reminded of Caleb Williams, another young, dynamic quarterback who can escape pressure and make plays off schedule. KYLER doesn't have quite the arm velocity that Caleb does. Caleb's got a bigger, more powerful arm. But the way they navigate the pocket, the way they can just scamper around and create, the way they keep plays alive with their legs while looking downfield, it's very, very similar. And Caleb Williams is widely regarded as one of the most exciting young quarterbacks in the game. The difference is that Caleb has managed to stay healthier. KYLER has had some durability concerns at his size, which is fair to discuss. But the talent level is comparable. The game-changing ability is comparable. And if you can keep KYLER healthy, you've got a legitimate game-changer on your hands. So here's the real question that I want to pose to every single Vikings fan watching this right now. Will the Vikings make the playoffs with Kyler Murray? If the organization actually pulls the trigger on this deal, if they bring Kyler Murray to Minnesota, will they make the playoffs next season? I think the answer is emphatically yes. I think it's not even close. With Kyler Murray under center, with Justin Jefferson at wide receiver, with the defensive talent the Vikings have assembled, they should absolutely be playoff bound in 2026. The ceiling is so high. The potential is genuinely exciting. This isn't a playoff team. This is a team that could be competing for an NFC North title. This is a team that could be talking about a Super Bowl run. But I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think. Leave a comment down below right now. Do you think the Vikings make the playoffs with Kyler Murray? Give me a Y for yes and N for no. Tell me why you believe what you believe. This is the kind of conversation that drives the fan base. This is the kind of move that shapes franchises. And the fact that we're even having this conversation speaks to the level of desperation and the level of opportunity that exists right now in Minneapolis. The Vikings front office faces a critical decision in the coming days. Kevin O'Connell has to decide whether he's willing to evolve his system and embrace the opportunity to work with elite quarterback talent. The ownership has to decide whether they're willing to commit the resources necessary to acquire someone of Kyler's caliber. Justin Jefferson has to decide whether he's willing to give this organization one more chance with a quarterback who could finally put him in position to have the elite statistical season he deserves. Everything we've heard from multiple credible sources suggests that the pieces could align. The interest is there. The willingness is there. The only question that remains is execution. Are the Vikings willing to be bold? Are they willing to take a chance on a dynamic talent who could transform their franchise? This is breaking news that's developing by the day. If the Vikings make a move on Kyler Murray, you're going to want to stay locked into your favorite Vikings channel because we will have videos immediately. We're going live when it happens. We'll give you the analysis, the reaction, the film breakdown, everything you need to understand what this move means for the organization. So make sure you hit that subscribe button today. Make sure you enable those notifications so you don't miss a single update as this story continues to develop. The next 10 days of the NFL offseason calendar are absolutely critical. These are the days where rosters are built. These are the days where championship teams are constructed. These are the days where franchises either make their move or watch their window of opportunity close. The Vikings have an opportunity right now, and whether they seize it or let it slip away will define the next chapter of this franchise's history. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in to what might be one of the most important stories in Vikings history. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be reading through your comments, and I want to hear your perspective on whether the Vikings should pursue Kyler Murray and whether you believe they'll make the playoffs if they do. This is the kind of moment that separates playoff teams from Super Bowl teams. This is the kind of decision that franchises look back on years from now and either celebrate or regret. The ball is in Kevin O'Connell's court now. Let's see what he decides.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.